I remember I had a patient who I love to get into stories with my patients, and
That's good.
I
Yeah.
find that yeah, I find that it helps us to relate better and to build that rapport when we can share stories with each other. And I had a patient, it was Caucasian female, and the time I don't think she knew I was Nigerian,
Yeah.
but she was telling me about her experiences with Nigerian people, and she had mentioned that she didn't like Nigerian men because they were this and they were that. And then she said, all Nigerians are like that, actually, is what she said. And so, as much as I had to sympathize with her and her experiences, I had to also let her know that your experience with one or two people of Nigerian background is not a representation of all of us, you know? And so I think for me, just being able to understand that your interactions really matter. And so that interaction I had with her, knowing that I was Nigerian and the kindness that I showed to her, I think that she would never forget that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Good Nigerians in Diaspora podcast. Today on the show, we have the pleasure of hosting a dedicated healthcare professional who is making a meaningful impact in Northern Ontario, Canada. Please join me in welcoming Osa Ukueghbe, a registered nurse with Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Originally from Nigeria, Osa is based in Sault Ste, where she works as a mental health nurse, bringing compassion, excellence, professionalism to her patients every single day. From overcoming academic challenges to graduating with honors from Sault College, Osa's journey is a beautiful testament to resilience, determination, and the pursuit of purpose far from home. She represents the very best of what Nigerians in the diaspora stand for: excellence in service, strength of character, and a heart for helping others. Osa, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to the Good Nigerians in Diaspora.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
We are more excited to have you here. And so for our listeners out there, I know you guys are already waiting, eager to hear what Osa has for us. But before we jump in, I just want to ask, if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of our episodes, because we post episodes every Monday. And then like this video. Most importantly, I know you have someone that needs to hear this. Please just click the forward button and share it with that friend or family. Like I always say, even an enemy who needs to know that there are more good Nigerians than the few bad. Okay, so we're just going to go into all the questions, and I'm looking forward to all the answers and all the things that Osa is going to open on to us today. So the first question that I have for you here is, you were born in Canada, yet you strongly identify as a Nigerian in diaspora. What does being a good Nigerian in diaspora mean to you personally?
Question. Being a good Nigerian in diaspora, I think it means representing Nigeria, representing your culture, but also having integrity, kindness, generosity in everything that you do. And for me, that's very important. It's just a part of who I am. And I guess I'll share later on, just part of my upbringing as well. So just representing who you are. And I believe that when you are meeting people, when you're in public, when you're associating with other people, so many times you don't even know who's watching you, who could be looking at you. And a lot of people, they tend to judge others based on what they see, what they hear. So I think it just represents just being kind to people, and just representing Nigeria and just showing others that Nigerians are also good people as well.
That is a good answer, man. I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so from Sault College to becoming a registered nurse specializing in mental health, walk us through your biggest obstacles, the ones you faced on this journey, and
Okay.
how your Nigerian grit helped push you through it.
Yeah, so my journey to nursing is not it's not a very linear, would say. A lot of people, they go through high school, they know what they want to do, they go to university and they finish. For me, when I had first finished high school when I was 18, I had gone into a program at York University called Biomedical Sciences. And I was in that program. I think I went to third year before I ended up dropping out of the program. And
Wow.
yeah, before I even dropped out, I already knew that this is not something I wanted to do. I was struggling mentally, emotionally with trying to always be that perfect child in my parents' eyes and
Mm,
always having to just be this perfect person all the time. And I knew that that was just something I wasn't interested in doing at all. At the time, I was also going through some struggles in a relationship at the time that also had a lot to play in that
yeah,
as
of
well.
course.
But yeah, long story short, I left the program and it was kind of during COVID time as well. So I started thinking, okay, what do I want to do? Now that I've left the program that my parents wanted for me, now I have the opportunity to do what I really want to do.
Hmm.
And so I started applying to nursing schools, given the fact that my last program I wasn't doing very well. And there was just no passion in what I was doing, and I was
Hmm.
just struggling a lot. And
Yeah,
I did feel like I had nobody to talk to about what I was going through. And I kept a lot of things to myself. And so I applied to nursing schools. And of course, because my grades in my last program were not good, I got rejected by a lot of, like, pretty much all the programs. I was getting rejection letters. And I started to lose hope. Uh, and then I applied to Sault College. And I think I had seen an ad or something online about Sault College, and I had never heard about this school before. So I decided to apply. Didn't really think I was going to get accepted into Sault College, but I did. And I was so surprised. And then coming to Sault Ste. Marie, that would be an 8-hour journey from what I knew, 8 hours from family, from friends, and I knew
yeah.
absolutely nobody in this
In
place.
Sault.
Yeah. And then it was also during COVID time. So quarantine, you can't really hang out with people, online classes, being isolated in your, I think like the dormitories on
Yeah,
residence at the time. But I took this opportunity to really push myself and it wasn't easy. I did go through nursing school. 4-year journey was not easy. I mean, faced a lot of hardships, emotional, mental
especially after you've
hardships.
lost 3 years, right?
Yes, yes. After I've lost 3 years, at the time, I ended a relationship that wasn't good for me. So I was dealing with that. I was dealing with a lot of guilt, almost feeling like I let my parents down in a way. And then also comparing myself to my friends who at the time were going into their 4th year of their programs. And I was then starting from year 1 from another program. So I did feel a lot of shame associated with that as well, isolation. Mm, There was also some financial hardships at the time. You're a student. But I pushed through. We thank God. By the grace of God, I was able to push through my 4 years. I was working. I got a job after my first year of school working as a PSW, and I did that pretty much all throughout nursing school till I finished. Yeah, I had to work to pay my bills and everything like that. And yeah, so I finished. I graduated with honors. I think they call it cum laude or something like that. Yeah, I started in mental health here at Sewell Area Hospital. And nursing has a lot of journeys. I think life in general just have journeys you go through.
That's right.
Yeah, you finish one hurdle and there's another. Even with nursing, there's always hardships in that as well. But thankful for the process and for the journey where I am today. Having the RN title is not easy, but we just thank God for everything.
Yeah, that's really interesting because just looking at going from struggling to just get good grades, now God did it. You got accepted into Sault College and then graduating with honors. It's really something that when you look back, you'll be like, how did I do it? You just know this is
Yeah.
just the Lord. But I just want you to take us back a little bit. So I know your first program, your parents, that's what they wanted for you, and then you were trying to please them. So how did mom and dad felt when they realized or they heard from you that, hey, you're no longer doing this, and then you've been accepted into nursing. So I want to know how they felt before you started and how they felt after you graduated, because I know they were in your graduation. I'm sure they were really
Yes.
proud of you.
Yeah. I mean, at first, they were not happy with me at all. I think at one point I started isolating myself from them a little bit because, I mean, my parents love me. I know they love me, but sometimes things can feel a little bit harsh in the moment.
Nigerian parent for
So,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Very harsh, very harsh. I was not feeling their support at the beginning. And I think for them too, it was almost like that trust had been broken
That's
because
right.
I left the program and I was already not doing well for a while. So it wasn't like it was, I woke up one morning and said, I don't want to do this. Like it was a lot of struggles I had been facing on my own.
That's right.
mm, And just not sharing with them. And so they felt kind of blindsided by everything. And then my relationship at the time too, there was some issues in there too, some bad decisions I made in that relationship. So just like everything coming to light with them, they were not happy about it. And so then when I was applying to my nursing programs, I kind of just did that on my own. And I remember at that time just being so sad and feeling like, I don't know, I just felt really down. I would be in my room all day long. I wouldn't leave my room. Yeah, just really sad and just feeling like what am I doing with my life?
That's right.
And, like I just felt there was a lost feeling I felt at the time. Mm, but I'm thankful for that experience because my faith became a lot stronger through that. And I use that to encourage other people as well that are going through those kind of things. But so when I originally told my parents that I got into nursing school, I mean, of course they said congratulations, but at the time I didn't feel like it was of excitement. It was just, oh, congratulations, you're going to school. Okay, good. And once they started seeing that I was doing well, not just doing well, but they started seeing that I was enjoying what I was doing and I had a
That's right.
passion for what I was doing.
Yeah.
I think my parents then switched their lens from like, this is not about what we want for our child, but what our child wants for themselves. And as long as they're
That's right.
happy in what they're
That's right.
doing. Yeah. So my parents began to support me again. And of course, on my graduation day, my mom, she was the most happiest person ever. Yeah. And I think to this day, she couldn't be more proud of me. I think at the time, they had their own vision of what they wanted for me. I believe it was med school at the time, or they wanted more for me than nursing.
That's right. Yeah.
But, this is a journey I took, and I even with my journey right now, this is not the end. I still do plan in the future by God's grace to continue to move up in my career.
Hmm.
But at the time, I think it was just a matter of what they wanted for me and what they thought life would look like. So, but now everything's good. They're very supportive.
That's great. Yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes our parents feel that these are the things called success. And so
Mhm.
they really want their kids to be in that vehicle of success, right?
Yes.
So and then overlooking the things that are success as well. So it all depends on how people define success. But I'm happy that a lot of Nigerian parents are beginning to see, because even in Canada here, you see a lot of people who they just go through high school, go through technical training, and then some of them are even business owners, right? But because of the kind of training they were given. But I'm happy that a lot of Nigerian parents and even people who might be hearing your story will just begin to loosen up and say, hey, it's not what I want for my child. I want my child to be successful. However, that success should be in the direction that God has called that child to go.
Yeah.
That's really
Yes.
good. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing that.
I think I've learned through that journey as well to not compare where you are to other people. I've stopped comparing because at the time when I first entered school, I remember just being ashamed to even tell people that I was starting a new program. Even though to me it was exciting, it was a new journey, a new step in my life, but I was ashamed of it because I felt like I was behind. And fear of always feeling behind, I think is not a good thing to have. And God has really showed me that you should stop comparing where you are. Your point A and someone else's point C are completely different. And so I had friends who were going to graduate at the time. And when I was going into year two, they were doing their graduation. And now that I've graduated, I was able to get a job right away in my field. And this is not to It's all just to put the glory on God, but it's like some of my friends that have graduated a long time ago, they're still like looking for jobs in their career, right? And so I was able to get a job right away when I first finished my school. And actually, I had friends that were actually in the same program that I went to originally at York University, and to this day they don't have a job working in their fields. And so, life is hard, the economy is tough, and so I'm just thankful for where I am in my own journey, and just learn not to compare yourself to other people.
That's a powerful nugget there for me too, as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes you feel like you're not doing well. You look at social media, you see other people flashing edited items, and you're like, oh, wonder. But it's
Mm.
really good to just stay in your lane. Just remember to stay in
Yes,
your lane. And even if you've
exactly.
made mistakes, and it's one thing that we were not really trained back home in Nigeria is we see mistake as failure. But a lot of people here, they see mistake as a learning portion. Like I've heard someone says, I cannot be successful without making mistakes. I have to
Mhm,
make mistakes on my journey
mm,
to success.
mhm.
But some people, some of back home, we used to think that success is when you do not make any mistakes. Yeah. But it's really good because the Bible says that God makes all things works together for our good. Whether
Good,
whether,
yes.
whether the lost years or the good
Mhm.
years,
Yep,
all of them are working together for our good.
I agree.
And that's a good advice there. Thank you for stopping me and bringing that in. I love it. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So the next question I have for you. So even though you were born and raised in Canada,
Mhm.
how have your parents and family in Canada instilled Nigerian values in you? And how do those values show up at your work as a registered nurse in Sault Ste. Marie?
I think the main person I would attribute to instilling these values is my mom. My mom, I always tell people that my mom, she has no quote unquote beef with anybody. She's always taught us to be generous to others, to be kind to others. And that's always what I've known is you're just to be a kind person. And even growing up like as kids, seeing my mom, there maybe aunties or people like that who had issues with her beef or something like that, she would still call them to check up on them. And she would always tell us that, like, if they don't like her or for whatever reason, that's their own problem, that her job is to make sure they're good, to check up on them. And if they don't want to answer a call, that's fine. And so all these aunties, they look at her and be like, wow, like, expected that you would give me the cold shoulder or something.
Yeah,
And you still reach out to me. You still help me when I'm in need. And so that's always what I've known. And that's what I grew up with. And so I think knowing that has really helped me in my journey, not just in nursing, but in life as well, to just be kind to other people. And especially working in mental health, it's giving me a greater picture of just knowing that you never really know what people are going through. Because in our doors that come in at the hospital, you have people from all walks of life. It's not just a certain kind of people that come in for mental health reasons, right? You have business owners, doctors, lawyers, you have very successful people, other nurses as well, and everybody is just going through something. And
that's
so
right. Yeah,
just to I think for me, what's helped me in my journey is just to know that every interaction matters. Everything that people don't always remember what you might have said, but they remember how you made them feel.
that's right.
And
Wow.
so, yeah, that has just always been something that's been instilled within me. And then growing up, as I came to the Sioux and started mingling around more Nigerians here, I got to understand that not every Nigerian is like this. And that was a shock to me because it was like, Nigerians are like, what then? Like, I didn't know that Nigerians are like anything. Like, I'm a proud Nigerian. I call myself Nigerian. And I didn't know that Nigerians were anything. I think just this upbringing has always just made me know to just treat people with kindness all the time and just show God's love to everybody. Well,
Wow, that's good. I love that. Thank you, mommy. Thank you so much. Okay, so how has being a mental health nurse helped you challenge or reshape negative narratives about Nigerians, especially in your smaller Canadian city like Sioux, where you live, where many people they have limited exposure to our
yes,
culture?
yes. Yeah, definitely growing up, not growing up in the Sioux, but living in the Sioux for the past, I've been here for 6 years now.
Wow,
And
six
yeah,
years.
6 years already. And it's crazy to know that a lot of people in this community have never really experienced or had much interaction or experiences with Nigerians. And so just knowing that interaction that you have with them it could be their only experience that they have with a Nigerian person. And I remember I had a patient who I love to get into stories with my patients, and
That's good.
I
Yeah.
find that it helps us to relate better and to build that rapport when we can share stories with each other. And I had a patient, it was Caucasian female, and the time I don't think she knew I was Nigerian, but she was telling me about her experiences with Nigerian people, and she had mentioned that she didn't like Nigerian men because they were this and they were that, and then she said all Nigerians are like that. Actually, is what she said. And so as much as I had to sympathize with her and her experiences, I had to also let her know that your experience with one or two people of Nigerian background is not a representation of all of us, you know? And so I think for me, just being able to understand that your interactions really matter. And so that interaction I had with her, knowing that I was Nigerian, the kindness that I showed to her, I think that she would never forget that. And even with other people I see, like in the community, not just in mental health, knowing that yeah, I'm a Nigerian. And I also have other colleagues and people like that. They talk about me a lot to other people. They'll be like, if they find out someone else is Nigerian, they'll be like, oh, do you know Osa? He's
Wow.
also a very kind Nigerian. And they'll be like, no, I don't know her. They'll come back and tell me. And I was like, well, not every Nigerian, just because we're Nigerian, know each other.
That's right.
So I think it's just knowing that every interaction really matters for me is the most important thing.
Wow, that's really good. I love that. Now that experience, even though that one person, imagine if that person was just interacting with the Nigerian via the internet and then just looking at just the few, maybe the very few who are doing things that are well known, which is negative stories against the nation. And that person would just like plus the little experiences she's had with the few Nigerians, would be like, oh, all, even she did say it to you, right? All Nigerians are like that. But I'm sure at the end of the conversation, and she realized you are Nigerians, she would look at the experience she had with you and be like, I think I was wrong. So
Yes.
that's the narrative we're just trying to change with this channel, the Good Nigerians in Diaspora. So I know there are many narratives we don't really like people saying about Nigerians, but what's the one negative narrative about Nigerians that frustrates you the most when you hear people say about Nigerians?
Maybe that Nigerians like to take advantage of people, or Nigerians are just not kind. I'll just share a quick story. I had a friend who is actually one of my best friends today. I met her in nursing school. And as I mentioned before, nursing school, we started off during the COVID times. So everything was online in year
That's right.
one.
Yeah.
And so I guess those are the stories she had told me now that I know the story now. But she told me that she had seen that I was always active in class, like speaking on the online platform. And she saw my name. And she was like, "Oh, this is a Nigerian name." And she said that she was hesitant to even like reach out to me because she too was also new to the city, didn't really have any friends. And so she was like, should I reach out to this person? Because I know that Nigerians are kind of, and thank God she did. She messaged me and then we met up. I think set a date to meet up a couple of days later. And now she was like that she's so happy to have gotten to know me. And so she tells me that she always thinks that Nigerians are thought Nigerians are, there's people you can't be trusted, and so I think that's a really big assumption of a lot of Nigerians, especially within the Nigerian community. I
Mm.
find that a lot of people don't trust each other, which to me was very new to me of what I learned recently. So I think that's a narrative an assumption that really gets to me because I'm like, no, not everybody is like that. And so
Yeah. Okay, so for young Nigerians planning to come to Canada for healthcare careers, what honest advice could you give them about dealing with both Nigerian communities and Canadian colleagues? That it doesn't matter, it's the good, the bad, the unexpected.
yeah. I think an advice I give them is to embrace both cultures. I think it's important for me, especially somebody that is someone that's born and raised in this country, to also embrace my Nigerian side. I think it's a very beautiful culture that I have. And yes, I'm Canadian, but I'm also Nigerian. So someone that's both, I would definitely recommend that they embrace both sides. And then again, just to show kindness, because at the end of the day, you are also representing a Nigerian. So to just continue to be kind to other people is the number one thing. And going to this country, I would also say resilience is also very important as well. To be someone that's resilient. I know life has its challenges. This country can be challenging,
That's right.
but to just be resilient, be hardworking. And I know Nigerians are very hardworking people.
Yeah.
So as long as you're resilient, you're hardworking, you're a kind person, I think you should be okay.
Love that. Kindness, resilience, hard work. Three good nuggets. I love that. Okay, so you represent so many good Nigerians in diaspora. I mean, so many. And so, what legacy do you want to leave, both in the nursing field and for the next generations of Nigerians building lives in Canada, even beyond Canada, maybe the US, the UK, in Australia, Germany, just everywhere in diaspora?
The legacy I wish to build is to just continue to inspire others. I think with my story, which I didn't really get too much into today, but I do have a long story of things that I've encountered and experienced throughout my life. And I think that sometimes the reason why we go through trials or hardships, I think, is to also inspire people and to show God's love to other people through it, just to inspire others, because you never know what other people are going through. And so I continue to inspire people and to continue to help people. That's just who I am as a person anyways, and I love getting feedback from other people. I had a friend, recently who's no longer living in the Sioux here, but, he reminded me he's now moved on to Toronto and has big things going on for himself there, but
That's right.
he reminded me the other day and he was like, "Osa, when I first came to Canada, you were the only one that was there for me. Like, you were the first person that welcomed me, made me feel very comfortable." And, this person, I did not know him from anywhere. Like, he had reached out to me online. I had, a couple years back, posted some videos about Sault College, and my nursing journey and nursing school.
Yeah.
And, I guess he had just Googled Sault Ste. Marie and had found me through there and found my social media platforms. And so he had reached out to me just to ask me about how Sault Ste. Marie was, and how he was coming from Nigeria, going to the Sioux, if it was a good city and things like that. So he ended up coming here, and then I remember I had offered to pick him from the airport because I thought to myself, when I first came to the Sioux, I had nobody. I mean, my parents dropped me off and they helped me to kind of acclimatize as much as they could for the one
That's
day that
right.
they were
Yeah.
here. But then I was alone. And so I was thinking, okay, if he comes here and his phone might not be working,
Hmm.
so he might not be able to call a Uber or anything like that. So I offered to pick him up, which he was very grateful for. And I took him to the phone store. That was the first thing I did. Took him to a phone store to get a is it SIM card for your
Yeah.
phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had gotten him to have like some groceries, things like that, and then took him to wherever he was staying at the time. And so to me, that was just whenever I do things, it's just like I just think to myself, how would you feel if you came to a new country? I couldn't imagine coming to another country across the other side of the world by myself.
Yeah.
Just me coming to Sault Ste. Marie alone was very nerve-wracking for me, and
Yeah.
so, yeah, I always just have that empathy for other people, and so I didn't think it was much of a big deal. I do it for a lot of people that come here for the first time, and, to know that that really stuck with him,
Hmm.
and, for him to call me and say, "Hey, like, do you remember this? You really
Yeah.
made my, journey into Canada smooth," and so,
That's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
the legacy I wish to leave for people is just to continue to inspire others and
Yeah.
just to be God's light to everybody.
Yeah. That is so good. As you were speaking, you just reminded me of, so my wife and I, because when we came in as well, we came during COVID and it was
Yeah.
back in Ontario as well, we're in Sudbury, a Nigerian guy who came into the same school and program as my wife after we had
Okay.
come in. So he, like, is studying online, but people were still coming in. Visas were approved at different times and stuff. So when this guy came, he had to quarantine in a hotel. Of course, as then there was still the quarantine program. I remember that period that my wife and I, we were cooking food and taking to him to his hotel. And he
Mm.
was really surprised that he kept calling his parents like, I do not know these Nigerians from anywhere. But him and his wife, they just keep bringing, we will cook and we'll walk to the hotel, drop the food for him, go back home, make another one, drop, and then so when he was done, he was thanking us and like, what can I do for you guys? And then I told him, I said, you don't have to do anything for us. God repays us for the good that we do. The only thing we want you to do is there's going to be a Nigerian that will be in similar situation. Pay it forward. Those were my words to him. Just pay it forward. And so imagine he does that to the next person and just like that. So that ripple effect will just keep going, because there are times like this, your friend, we really sit down and we're grateful to God. We look at where we were before and then where we are right now. There's going to be a few people in that journey because God uses men, right? So that's why
Yes.
your friend could actually say, no, I need to really thank Osa again for saying yes. My wife and I, we do that a lot to people who did quite give us a lot of financial support coming from Dubai to Canada. Till date, and that's like 2021, till date, I still once in a while send them message. And especially when we break through something, just to share that testimony, hey, God has been, we're able to do this. And I remind them, if you hadn't said yes that time, we would not be able to do this at this time. So it's really, really good. Okay, so for other Canadian-born Nigerians listening right now, what advice would you give them on how to proudly live the good Nigerian in diaspora life, owning both their Canadian birth and Nigerian heritage?
Yeah. Like I said before, I think it's very important to own both heritages. It's a beautiful thing to be from both countries. But I think I mentioned it at some point before, but it's just to continue to inspire others, to continue to be a good Nigerian to others, because you don't know who is watching you.
That's
You
right.
don't. You don't know who's watching you, who's building their assumptions based on what they see and making judgments based on what they see and saying, oh, look, yet another Nigerian, yet another Nigerian. And just breaking that cycle of Nigerians being looked at in a negative light. Because I know there's so much in the media
That's right.
and in other people's personal experiences about Nigerians who have not been very good to them. But just to continue being a good person, shining God's light to other people around the world, I think is the most important thing that you can do in everything they do. So
That's really good. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Okay, just changing this narrative one story at a time. So this is the last question I always ask every one of my guests on this podcast, and it is, what is the one good thing about Nigeria and Nigerians that you wish other non-Nigerians knew about us?
want non-Nigerians to know that Nigerians are one of the most hardworking and resilient people. They are smartest people, actually, one of the smartest people. Nigerians are seen in so many different careers of the world, very intelligent, very hardworking. And a lot of Nigerians have gone through a lot of challenges to get to where they are today in their careers. And I just want people to know that Nigerians are very hardworking. I know as much as people can say negative things about Nigerians, and you always hear it all the time, but Nigerians are very hardworking people, very resilient. And so I have lots of friends who inspire me every single day, so that are Nigerian. And so that's one thing I want people to know, that we are very hardworking people. And the small group of Nigerians who may be seen as a negative light, that just represents a very small fraction.
That's
And
right.
also to know that there's, in every culture, in every ethnicity, there are people who are portrayed in a negative light, right? Or do negative things to
That's
make
right.
everybody else be portrayed in a negative light. So it's with every culture. So it's not just Nigerians
That's
alone,
right. Yeah.
but just to highlight the fact that we are very hardworking and very resilient.
That's
And
great.
Nigerians can be some of the most funniest and most welcoming people that you can know.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. What an inspiring conversation. Thank you. I know you have a lot to spill out, but we just do not have the time. But really, thank you so much for sharing your heart, for sharing your journey and your powerful perspective as a Canadian-born Nigerian, proudly living the good Nigerian in diaspora life. From Sault Ste. Marie to mental health nursing, you are truly representing Nigeria with excellence, grace, and beauty. So, for everyone listening out there, if Osa's story truly touched you, inspired you, or made you proud, please do me a favor right now. hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and also like this video. Then also turn on your notifications so you don't miss any episode. And remember to share. Share with your friend, your family, your enemy, your neighbor. Somebody needs to hear this. Let's keep celebrating and amplifying the good Nigerians in the diaspora. And don't forget to follow our amazing guest, Osa Ukueghbe. I really like her last name, Osa Ukueghbe. Don't forget to follow her across all her social media platforms. All the links are actually waiting for you in the description below. Go show her some love and let her know you heard her story on the podcast. Until next time, remember to keep shining, keep repping, and remember also, Nigeria is rising one brilliant story at a time. I'm your host, Precious, and this has been the Good Nigerian in Diaspora podcast. See you on the next episode.